gang, the legend JJ Britt here. Welcome to another episode of Between Two Eagles Nest. I am so excited about this. We have a new program here at Eagle Lake that we're so excited about. It's called Quickball. It's put on by MLB. My guest today is a lady from EL1 Sports. Her name is Crystal States, and she's kind of a promoter of the Quickball. She came out a couple weeks ago, or actually, it's been longer than that, but came out and gave us an introduction of it and showed us what it was all about. And man, we jumped all on board, and so happy to have her. Miss Crystalrae, how are you? You doing good?
Yeah, I'm doing really well. I share your enthusiasm for Quickball, and I am so excited that you guys are bringing it to Eagle Lake. And I will be back in August, so
Yes.
I'll get to meet everybody that's going to sign up and do some training. So I'm excited to see you guys all again in a little bit here. So thanks for having me.
Sounds so cool, man. It's really so good. So let's dive into a background here a little bit. Tell us a little bit about who Crystalrae States is, and where where'd you come from, stuff like that.
Well, I came from my mother, but more
Yeah.
importantly, I I
Oh,
grew up having a love for sports. I was a three-sport athlete. I played volleyball, basketball, and softball, but softball was always my first love. I am originally from the suburbs of Philadelphia, so I bleed all sports from Philadelphia, and so big Phillies fan growing up. And I just love baseball, and I love softball. And so um, I was fortunate enough to be able to go and play softball in college. I played at Spring Arbor University, go Cougs.
yeah. Okay.
And I was a collegiate catcher there, and I majored in physical education. And so I wanted to continue my love for sports and be able to continue to share it with children in my professional career. And so after graduating, went into physical education, was a teacher, elementary, and then in high school, was coaching softball along the way, and decided to get my master's in sport management. Wanted to check out the administrative side of things and explore things outside of the education sector, and kind of got a couple lucky things and ended up coaching in college for a few years. And then decided to get into sport management at the facility level. So managed baseball and softball facilities for baseball training and all that. Jumped on board with EL1, was managing some facilities, and then moved on to the Quickball side. So I'm all things sports. I'm all things baseball in particular,
That's
and of course softball. But yeah, that's me in a nutshell. So
that's
here I
awesome.
am.
That's awesome. All right. So what got you involved with the quick ball? EL1 Sports does a phenomenal job with this. What was something that caught your eye, probably, when you first saw it, that said, this is something that I need to do?
Yeah. So really good question. So Quickball's been around for about 20 years. And so before my time with EL1, I was involved with Quickball with Chris Mackey, who's the founder, and Frank DeSimbrino and Shannon Gumby. And so we were part of the first group that helped develop and launch the program that you guys know today. So, as physical educators, this actually began as a collegiate intramural program. So, Quickball was played at colleges and kids doing their league play. And when Frank encountered it, he said, "Wait a second." Like the epiphany went off of this could be this entry level program for kids. Like this could be so cool. So
Right.
he started developing the curriculum side, and then kind of grabbed a couple other people. I was one of them and said, like, we're going to launch this in leagues. Like, let's educate people, teach them how to do it. And me being phys ed and like Quickball. So my first touch on it and seeing it from the phys ed perspective was just like, wow, this is so impactful because everything about this is purposeful from the equipment. There's a league set that we'll probably talk about in a little bit. But the cueing and the progressive curriculum week to week that really explains to parents and coaches like this is how you play, and then makes it fun for kids. I mean, I
Yes.
thought it was the bee's knees. I mean,
Absolutely.
it's fast paced, it's fun, it's engaging. there's very low barrier to playing. It kind of takes the scariness out with the metal bats and balls, right? Because it has its own equipment. So from a phys ed perspective and watching the progression, I was like sold, right, in my younger
Yes.
years. So that was my
All
first
right.
encounter. And now my kids are going through it. I have a 6-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 2-year-old. So my 6-year-old and 4-year-old play, and I fell in love with it all over again by watching them play and seeing how much fun it was for
Very
them.
cool.
So, yeah, it's great.
So explain a little bit. You got into a little bit there, but explain to the people that haven't signed up yet, or maybe they have and just don't even know what it is. Explain a little bit about Quickball. What does you talked about the leagues and stuff like that. Explain a little bit what Quickball is, if you would.
Yeah. So this piece of Quickball is our entry level, right? So we call our entry level 4 to 6 years old. And I think you guys are doing 4 and 5-year-olds
Four
for
and five,
for
yes,
an entry.
yes.
Perfect. That's awesome. And so it's modified baseball and softball equipment designed to increase the energy and pace of baseball and softball. So a day in Quickball, what does it actually look like? So you have all the equipment you need when you show up to the field. Your kid doesn't need a bat, a glove. They do need sneakers and some water, right? But they can come and they can play. So you'll start out by running bases. So they're going to learn a base running concept. Then they're going to go into station work for different stations, learning how to throw, field, and hit. And then for the final part, they will do a gameplay, simulated gameplay with certain concepts that they've learned within the base running and the station work. And so it keeps the kids moving. They're getting a lot of touches. They're getting a lot of interaction. And so gone are the days of your child standing there picking dandelions in left field or kicking around dirt. They may kick some dirt, right? Because they're
Right,
kids.
right,
But
right.
the idea is that there's a lot of touches, a lot of catches, a lot of throwing, a lot of hitting. And so they're just submerged in the game the entire time that they're playing. And it's an hour long. So
Yeah,
it's designed to keep their attention and not be boring. And, they want to
yeah.
come back time
And
again and time in.
and when you come down, one of the cool things, I mean, the balls are different than regular baseballs. The bat's
Yes.
more like a wiffle ball bat.
Mhm.
There's you can have a catcher, but you don't have to have a catcher. Y'all provide the board for the catcher and the thing. One of the cool things that I like, you can touch on it a little bit. I love the whole program, but the incentive part of it, which is something that I really love about it. You you demonstrate it for us. You go to first. If you run to first base, you get a coin,
Yeah,
and and
absolutely.
and the coin you go back and drop it in the bucket. But it's just the fact that hey, you've done this. Here you go,
Mhm.
and so that's something that I mean I like the whole thing. Don't get me wrong, but I think that
Mhm.
part of it is really special for the kids to say, hey, I get a coin when I do this. I do this right, I
Yeah.
get a coin,
Yeah.
and you can make a game out of it. You can make it where it's fun for the kids.
Mhm.
Um, uh, and so talk on that a little bit on some of the rewards. I mean, obviously the skills, you're going to get the skills, you're going to get that, but it's another level to learning this.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So we like to think about them having success inside the game, like a game inside of a game, right? Because we know baseball and softball are very complicated. They're complex. There's a lot of things going on. So
Right.
in order for the kids to be able to focus on those subgroups, right? If we're giving them rewards, right, or encouragement to think about those things. So, oh my goodness, I ran all the way through first base and I got a coin. I ran hard. Okay, so I guess hustle is part of this. I guess, encouraging my teammates, giving high fives, right? Like all those things are part of the game, and that makes this fun. And it's really bringing the spirit to the field, right? Of
Absolutely.
that
Yeah.
camaraderie and community. And Quickball really does that. So offensively, you score runs, right? But we can't score runs if we're not hustling on the bases, right? Or if we
Correct.
run the bases the wrong way. So there's that piece of it. There's also the defensive side of things. And we know that defense, when you're younger, especially, is super challenging. Where do I throw the ball? What's going on? And so we want the kids to understand, hey, if we get the ball to first base on our, first day when we're throwing it to first base, you're going to get a coin because the process was right, right?
Right.
And really everything about this is about the process, right? It's teaching
Right.
kids about how to be successful, how to do things inside the game the right way, and that will build on itself, right? So when they do have the arm strength to be able to do it, they already know to go to first base, right? When they do have the speed to be able to round and go
Correct.
for a double, they know they're going to just keep running, right? And so
Correct.
it's the idea of, I oftentimes talk about building on successes. We wouldn't want a 4 or 5 year old to have to learn algebra, right? I think I said that to you guys earlier. So
Yeah.
how
Yeah.
can we expect them to play a 7 inning game of baseball or softball? We shouldn't. So it builds on the concepts, allows them to be successful in those moments and build confidence for what's to come. And so I think that's the really special part about Quickball.
So let's touch on that a little bit. What tell these new parents, these 4 or 5 year olds, they're a lot of them, maybe not all of them, but a lot of them are brand new parents.
Sure.
What benefit they want to get their kids into baseball or softball or whatever, and I'm so happy we're bringing softball to Eagle Lake again this year,
Yeah.
so that is awesome.
Love
Um,
that.
um, what's the benefit for a player or even a parent at that point for with working with Quickball?
Yeah. It's a really good question. And part of the way that this program is designed is to include everyone.
Right.
So we want to take the fear of the sport away, right? So when us as parents, right, are selecting things for our kids to play, either A, we've had a positive experience with it when we were younger, right? Or it's a very low threshold of risk, right? Like that we're like, okay, yeah, my kid can probably do this. They're not going to get hurt. If someone asks me to help, I could probably jump in, right? Um, but we don't always see that for baseball and softball, right? Because of the equipment, because of the complexities, because maybe as a child they didn't have a positive experience. And so we want to flip the script there. We want parents to get on the field and coach with their kids, right? We want kids to feel safe when they're playing the sport, which is why we have the modified equipment with the ball that is safe for everyone from 4 year olds. They can play it until adulthood, right? And so when we take that barrier away and we empower kids to have fun and learn through exploration, we also empower parents to be a part of it. And so the curriculum, step-by-step guide of, hey, you don't have to teach the whole sport. Could you
Right.
run one station and we have it written out step by step what you have to do? Well, I can do that. I just have to run a station for 7 minutes. I'll volunteer, right? And
Right.
so, the number one thing our kids ask us, right, when we sit down and come home are, Mom and Daddy, can you play with me? Can you play with me? Right? They're not asking, can I win a championship? I want to win a medal. They just want us to play with them, right?
Right.
And so what Quickball does is it allows us to get out there and play with our kids, right? And have fun and enjoy being with them and not being stressed out that we're teaching them the wrong thing or we're messing up, right? We're just playing, we're just having fun. And so I think that's the really, and again, I love Quickball, but again, another secret sauce to why it's so impactful for a community.
Well, and I think going back to, man, when we were kids, I mean, back it seems like forever now, but I don't know about you, but I know for me,
For both
but
of us, the old lady over here.
but it was something for your mom or your dad to get out in the front yard and and just throw the ball with you, or,
Mhm.
or just play. It meant something to us, and I don't want to say that it's gone away from that, but this is an opportunity for us to bring the parents back into playing with their kids, having some fun, getting
Mhm.
outside. I mean, I know the big thing now is get out for an hour, but
Yep.
and that's great. But the fact, I personally think that a parent playing with their kids, having fun, builds a kid's mental and uh just their mental ideas. Look, I can do this.
Yeah.
And so I applaud y'all guys for that aspect, and I encourage all the coaches or all parents to come out. You don't have to be called a coach.
Nope.
Just come out and play with your kid for a little while, and
Yeah.
and that's what I like about it. So
Yeah. And I think you bring up a good point there that we should talk about with the program is that it extends outside of the time that you're on the field, right, at Eagle Lake playing. So part of our program is that each kid gets a bat and 3 balls. that they can go home and practice with their parents or brother, sister, whatever, right? So again, go home and practice, go home and play, right? Have a good time. And additionally, each kid gets a player card set. So there are 9 positions on the field. So we have 9 cards that coincide with each position. It has a character and a sportsmanship cue on it. So the kids are learning the positions on the field. They're learning about sportsmanship. And so again, like what are our takeaways? What can we take home with us afterwards? So
Right.
we obviously want to build skills, but we want to build good sports, right? Kids that want to be outside and play with each other.
Yes.
And ultimately community. Like I really think, one of the questions you had asked me previous to this was, well, what can we expect and how's this going to impact Polk County? What I can say is it's going to bring community together, right? It's going to instill love at the younger ages. It's going to bring people together on the field, outside of the field. And it can be a really cool experience to continue to grow, even if the kids decide they're not going to play after a couple years, right? But we have seen that leagues that adopt Quickball increase their numbers over time for participation because of those early successes and the skills that they're building. And also people that might have said, hey, I don't know how to coach. I'm not doing this. Well, essentially it's a practice plan, right? Quickball is a practice plan. So people are learning how to coach. They're engaging in the game. Maybe they get more comfortable. Maybe that means that they get to be an assistant later on, or maybe when their kids in the car ride home, they can converse with them more about the game because they know a little bit more, right? So it's just gaining the comfortability around what we're doing. And again, in terms of Eagle Lake, I know you guys have a lot of really great things going on there, but I think you're going to see continued increase in success throughout the community because of bringing Quickball to your place.
We talked a while ago, we've got, as of yesterday, 43 Quickball signups.
Fantastic.
And we're not closing the door. It's, we're going to sign up as many as we could possibly get, because we want the kids to have this experience. We want them to not only, and this is me.
I
always feel that baseball is life, or softball, either way. Sure. But you can learn so much of the outside world by what you learn inside a baseball or softball field. Teamwork, work, following directions, learning, new skills, there's just so much thing that you go out here in life and you go, dude, I learned this when I was 10, 11, 12. And, and now we're not asking 4 and 5-year-olds to learn that right now, but, but you get you get that in their, you get that going in their head. Maybe in 3 or 4 years, they're ready to go, you know what? I learned this over here in Quickball. Now I figured it out, and so that's the way I think. But I'm so excited. What's some, you got the inside of Quickball. Is there anything new they're trying to develop and come up with, to kind of, make everything's got to evolve? And so is there anything Quickball's trying to do now to evolve, to make it even bigger than what it is?
Yeah, that's a really great question. And Quickball, the fun thing about it is it can grow from age 4 to adulthood. And so, like I said, it started in college intramurals. We're right now working on some competitive leagues. So again, you finish your baseball season, and it's different for you guys down there, but you finish your season and you're not on All-Stars or whatever, like jump into a Quickball league, like keep playing. We have Sandlot stuff going on where people can come and pick up and play in Sandlot leagues, right? So there's a lot of different opportunities after entry level. We also have our competitive league. So that's like for 6 to 8-year-olds, right? So there's a lot of different things that you can build on with Quickball depending on your league, what you're interested in doing. So,
and we're not opposed to none of that. Don't get me wrong. We're not, that's something that that we're very interested in. And we want to get, our first step is to get this Quickball rocking and rolling.
Of course.
But you talked about some of that when you was here, some of the, we could, some of the tournaments, some of the season play, some of that. We're going to dive right on into this. I mean, the board's on our board is on board with it.
It's awesome. Yeah.
We're and we're in a Florida standards and with all the pools around here.
Yeah.
We're putting 1 foot in right now
Yep.
with all the intentions of diving in.
Yeah.
And I say that because we're going to start with the 1 foot in with the quick ball with the 4 and 5 year olds.
Mhm.
In a year, we might dive all in and come up. We might come up with a team for a season or your season play or one of these tournaments. Or we're really excited about that part of it. We had talked
Yeah.
about possibly taking your standards and doing a 10U or a 12U or both uh tournament with the bats,
So
with the
fun.
balls, with the
Yeah.
just to have some fun. Let the older kids come up or come down and let them play a little while. One of
Yeah.
the other things that we're looking at is we're trying to get especially the 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 year olds. We want them to be able to come down to quick ball and help these 4 and 5 year olds. How do you field a ball correctly? How do you catch a pop fly? Run in the back. But we're trying to get them to where they can help out as well. And
Mhm.
that teaches them a little bit of, you know, leadership and mentorship,
Absolutely.
in that aspect. So we're trying. We're just
Yeah.
putting 1 foot in at a time, but we're eventually. I really think we're going to dive right into this.
Yeah. And I think it's awesome. And again, use Quickball to your advantage, right? Like where you see the opportunity, go for it. And I think that's the beauty of Quickball is it can be so many things, right? And it can, you know, figure its way out, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So that's one of the things again about Quickball that's great. And also as you speak on that, think what pickleball is to tennis, right? Or
right,
flag is to
right,
football, right? The idea
absolutely,
that it can be in its own lane in a third diamond sport, right? That you can still play your traditional baseball, softball, but it doesn't mean you can't play quickball, right?
right,
So it's
right.
just, their own lanes in
That's
their
a
own
really
space,
good
which is
point
really
right there.
cool.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
really good
Mhm.
point because
Yeah.
pickleball's really big right now,
Yeah.
and flag football's been big, for a while. Why not do the quick ball as the pickleball of baseball?
Exactly.
And I think that is phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. Um, so we're starting this in our jamboree is September 7th
Hmm.
here. And we're so excited to get this thing started. You're coming down actually in August.
I am. Hmm.
And I know we talked about this a little bit, but if you have some spare time, I'd love to sit down, with you again, and do an in-person one. Maybe I'll see about inviting some of the kids,
Yeah.
and maybe we can do a video for the podcast.
Would love that. That'd be great.
Um, and it's just something to give them it's one thing for me to sit on a computer and talk about this,
Sure. Yeah.
but and this is going to help boost from now till August. But then the August one, we can actually get on the field, get the stuff
Yep.
out,
Yep.
and just start diving in and show these guys what quick ball is. And by the way, y'all have got tons of videos on YouTube and
Yes.
uh, do you have any social media or anything you want to plug while you were here?
Yeah, I mean, our website is EL1 Quickball. So there's a lot of good nuggets on there if you want to check out the history. We have some things will be coming shortly, articles from our co-founder. So it goes through a lot of different things about Quickball, really cool stuff from Chris Mackey. Um, There's programs that we're starting to launch countrywide, so you'll start to see some pop-up things to what you've been talking about as well. So keep an eye out for some cool events, maybe coming to Florida in the summertime.
Okay.
And our social, we're on Instagram and Facebook, so it's just EL1 Quickball. So if you're into social media, follow us. And so yeah, that's pretty much where we're at with that. And we have a newsletter as well, so I'll get you that link and you can shoot it to your people if they'd like to sign up. It's a monthly newsletter all about Quickball. So
Awesome.
those are the things that we're doing right now.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Well, Crystalrae, I do appreciate you coming on.
Of
This
course.
is Miss Crystalrae Straits from EL1, which, by the way, EL Eagle Lake, we love it. It's just
Oh yeah,
absolutely
phenomenal.
phenomenal.
It was meant to be, right?
Yeah. So, but I appreciate you jumping on with me and talking to me, and can't wait to see you in August.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me. And again, I'm just as enthusiastic. Maybe you should be the spokesperson for Quickball at this point. I don't know. I might have to pass the torch because you do a pretty good job.
I still got a lot to learn, but
it's all right. I'll teach you. It's great to find people that are so excited about it. I'm glad you're bringing it to Eagle Lake, and I'm glad I'll be out there to share it with people. And also, I'll be doing a softball clinic too. So
okay,
your softball gals out. Talk to Jake about it. But
will do.
One night will be Quickball night, and one night will be softball night. So excited to hang out with you guys.
Sounds good. Sounds really good. Well, thank you so much for joining us. And
of course,
we wish you the best, and hope you can't wait to see you in August.
I'll see you guys soon.
All right. Thank you.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Bye.